Hey folks, welcome. Thanks for showing up on a Wednesday that wasn't supposed to happen. Yay.
Yeah.
Jennifer over on the right. Beth is sick. If you do the prayer thing, throw a prayer in. This is what we call, oh, we lost Jennifer. She'll be back. Laura Brinkman, and Laura has a floss tube channel. Here comes Jennifer back. We'll get it together. Hi.
Hey, I was lagging and then suddenly I couldn't hear you anymore.
Oh, well,
So
now,
I left
now
and came back.
all is well. All is well.
Okay.
So this is Laura Brinkman, and this was a spur of the moment thing. I was telling these two that 4 o'clock this morning I woke up in Boston, so I've been at it a long time today. And Laura has a floss tube channel. It's Laura B Floss Tube, so check that out. But Laura also has a Singer Featherweight sewing machine that she redid, and she has a long video about how they went through that. And so she was sending me some pictures for this video I'm putting together. And if you have an old Singer or an old vintage sewing machine that you use, or there's a story behind it, send me photos. I got last week. One lady sent me, I don't know how many she has, but oh man, just some stunning stuff, ancient stuff.
Wow.
So spur of the moment, I just wrote to Laura and said, hey, you want to join us tonight and show off your machine and talk about your stitching? And she said, yep. So that's Laura right there. So Laura B Floss Tube is her floss tube channel, Laura Brinkman. She lives in Columbia, Missouri, so just right up the road from me. So yeah. So thanks for joining us, Laura.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. Now you're all pixelated. I don't know what happened there. Move around a little bit. Is somebody else using bandwidth in your house?
Yeah, I'm wondering. No, they're not. You know what though? Give me 1 second.
Okay, that's fine. I got a million other things to talk about, so take your time.
All right.
Okay, let's get the drawings out of the way. So winners, 2 weeks ago, you already have your stuff. I know you do because we sent it within a couple of days. So winners from the last time, Kathy Shannon, Rick Mulway, Kim O'Boyle, and Dee Neal were the winners of the charts last time. Now this week, we have 2 kits from Avlea, from Krista West at Avlea, and always appreciate her sending stuff to us to give away. So if you're new here, the way we work the drawing is it's just for people who do the live show, who are here with the live show. You send an email right there during the show to Gary@WeTalkFiber.com, and in the subject line this week you put Avlea. Just put the word Avlea. That's what right there below Jennifer's chin. You just put the word Avlea in the subject line, and then in the main body of the email you put your name and address. Then I do the drawing after the show, and that's how we determine the winners. So, but it's just for people who are here at the live show. So 2 things to give away tonight, both from Krista West at Avlea. Really appreciate her sending stuff all the time so that we can give them away. It really makes it great. And please support our sponsors, Krista West, Avlea, Kim at Sassy Jack Stitchery, and Kim's bored out there in the Carolinas. She's just sitting around twiddling her thumbs and petting her cat. So send her some business so she got something to do, because otherwise she just gets in trouble. So. All right, so tonight what we have to give away is the Avlea, the Ionian apron. And this is the full kit now. So you get all the stuff to stitch those 2 bands, and you get the cloth to make the apron. No, Krista did not make the apron for you, but it's a full yard of cloth and full instructions to make the apron. That's Krista modeling there. I don't know if you've heard, but she now has an agent. You'll be seeing her in Vogue and Elle and some of the other,
Nice.
big success with this one photo. So,
Yeah.
are those artichokes? Is that what those are?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Very nice.
I've only seen
so you
them in
have
pictures.
to stitch your own apron. Ooh.
Yeah, so this is a full kit. So we're giving that away. That's the Ionian apron. And then the other one is this is one of my favorites of her new stuff. This is the Iris's Paint Box Bit Kit. So this is the
Oh,
smaller
that's cute.
version, and there's a large version of this Iris's paint box. But I really
Mm-hmm.
like this. I think this is really cool. So
Yeah, it is.
yeah. So let's go back on screen here. We
So,
got.
like, you can make that apron as your first project on your sewing machine.
I know. I thought about that. Yeah. But yeah, yeah. I think I better go with something simpler than that, though. But yeah, see,
I
she
think
has
it's
all the.
simpler than a bag or a pouch thingy for
Yeah.
sure.
But there's all the instructions for how to cut the yard of cloth. So, it'll work. Or hire somebody to make it for you.
Is it
But
linen cloth or is it just kind of like quilter's cloth or?
this was shipped to me open so I can show it. Um, Linen, it's a good cloth. It's heavy.
So it's linen for like the apron and everything.
Right, right. Well,
Well, some
this is
people
her.
might just sub out the
This is
linen,
her, yeah. This
use it
is
for
her. I
stitching,
know
and
you
use other
could. Yeah, you
fabric.
could.
It's like,
Let's see if we get Laura back here.
I'd be like,
There's
the
Laura.
linen I'm saving for stitching, and I'll use quilter's fabric.
Yeah, this is the Makini, the 26 count Makini ivory that you do the stitching on. There, can you hear
Nice.
us, Laura? Laura's not hearing us. Laura, hello, hello. Something has
Here.
gone haywire. What's going on?
I know. It was all good.
It was perfect before the
Or,
show started. Laura, are you here?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you fine
oh,
now.
there it
Yep.
is.
All
So,
right.
yep. So full yard of this beautiful linen, so you can make the apron. So, and then of course, the threads, the whole bit. So the full kit with full instructions is the Ionian apron. So that's one of them. Send your email so you don't miss out on that, because that's very cool that she sent that. And here, a minute. Fortunately, she didn't seal it, so I could open it and show it, and then I'll seal it up when we send it. Then
Nice.
the Iris's paint box bit kit. Now this is the bit kit, so it's a little 10 by 12 piece additional ground cloth. So, oh, this is the same Makini stuff. This is great cloth, and then more thread than you can use. So. Yeah, so those are the two. So send your email. Make sure you put your address in the body so that I can ship it to you, because it's really hard. Avlea, just use Avlea in the subject line. Don't put anything else, and then that goes to a special mailbox, and then we do the drawing, and blah blah blah. And of course, if you don't win, you're more than welcome to go to AvleaFolkEmbroidery.com and purchase one. She'll be happy to send it to you. And Kim can get these too, so whatever works for you. Whatever works. Yeah, and get on Krista's email list, because she is cranking stuff out all the time. And you need to keep up. So that's that. And now somewhere I buried my notes. That's what I was looking for. What did I do with my notes? Yeah, we're professional here. There it is. Okay, Sunday, Beth watching and coughing, yeah. I'm going to
Aw.
put, Margaret's been really sick too.
Beth.
She caught something too. I would get Beth and Margaret
Really?
together, and they could just cough each other right out of it, yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's not just really bad allergies that mimic a cold?
No, this is, no,
Oh.
yeah, no. Sunday, I'm pointing, Sunday, this is important. This is important. You may know that May is Mental Health Month, because there's something every month for everything.
Is it?
But this is Mental Health Month. So what we haven't recorded it yet, but Beth and Kathy Andrews, the Unbroken Thread, are going to get together and do a show for Sunday and talk about stitching and mental health. And they've been doing a little research and exploring topics, and so they're going to have a discussion about stitching and mental health for Sunday. So make a note to be sure and listen to that, suggesting, of course, that people don't listen to every single show that we do, which, but So that's a good one there. That's going to be good, important topic, and we all know we've talked about it 1,000 times. Needlework can help if you have mental health issues, or just need something to escape.
Antsy hands, so you don't do this.
Yeah,
Do this
yeah.
instead.
Right. So that's Sunday's show. And then if you're an EGA member now, we've got a new round of the Fiber Talk 5 to get $5 off of a virtual lecture. So you can go to EGA, and those virtual lectures, you can either get $5 off, get the free for the next one, or one of the recorded ones. So Fiber Talk 5, Fiber Talk and the number 5 if you're an EGA member. And while you're there, if you're not, just become an EGA member, and then it'll just be easy for you. So that's it. That's all I got. So there we have it. All right, we're going to save Laura for later because we got to see Jennifer's latest things here.
Oh, yes. My stuff.
So it's all Jennifer on the screen now. So
Okay.
let's start with the pillow thing. You got that handy?
I do. I guess my light, it doesn't matter, whatever.
No, it's all right.
Okay. So here I've started my little pillow.
And Laura, feel free to chime in anytime, Laura. You don't have to sit there silent.
Okay.
So here's my little pillow that I cross-stitched.
Yep.
It's 28 count over 1. And then what I did is I used a needle, like a sharps needle,
Okay.
and threaded got a length of thread. I kind of eyeballed it with lots of extras to make sure it goes all the way around. And I did the blanket stitch, but with like no leg. But it's basically a blanket stitch with like the shortest little leggy ever,
Okay.
because I figured that was a really good, because when you see, like, I've seen crocheted edgings on like quilts or on anything else, they will do a blanket stitch with the longer leg and then they crochet the edge on.
Uh-huh.
And then I decided I didn't want it to stick out, so I just did it with basically no leg.
So this keeps the crochet right up against the pillow.
Yeah.
Oh, I see that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's nice and
That
tight.
is super cute.
Yeah. And then it's easier here, to crochet, because on this it's a little fiddly trying to hold the big old pillow. I have to sit with my knee up so I can rest this on my knee. And yeah, I have to get contorted to hold it right and do the stitching, and it's tiny itty bitty little hook,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that is small, yeah. Okay, so, all right, so dumb guy question, because I've never crocheted anything. So how many times do you have to go through that blanket stitch thread that's on the edge? Is it like a regular thing, or do you do 2 or 3
Yeah.
and then?
No, I'm doing each little shell set
Yeah.
is in one blanket stitch. There's a better pointer pokey thing. Here. So.
Oh,
see
okay, so
there?
you're not going through that every time you do a stitch.
No, and then right here, there's a slip stitch to bring that down, to hook it onto the bottom.
Okay.
And then I go to the next blanket stitch hole and do all the double and triple crochets here, and then do a slip stitch there, and so on all the way around.
Okay, Sandy wants to know what size hook you're using.
It's wee. Let's see.
Wee size.
1.8 millimeter.
1.8.
It's a steel crochet hook. Yeah,
Okay.
for like cotton. But this is the Karen Collection Impressions. 50 silk, 50 wool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So glad I
Because
got
that
it
was,
thistle.
it's going to sound weird, but I actually thought about it a couple times after the last time you showed us, because I wondered how you were connecting that, and if you were constantly having to go through that thread that's on the edge, because it seemed to me like that would be a lot of hassle, but you don't.
Right. Well, I mean, you constantly loop around it, but you're not piercing it. You just loop around it.
Yeah.
See all these little edges
Okay.
here?
Yeah. So you're just going
So,
through there. Yeah. Okay. I see.
yeah. So you do have to constantly, put your hook through here, but it's not hard. I
Yeah.
mean,
There's plenty of give. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And there was no way to poke it through, to poke the hook. So I had to sew it on with the
Right.
needle and thread first.
Right.
I had to get this on first.
And that's the same Karen thread, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I just kind of eyeballed it. I made that little swatch, and then I saw that it was about a quarter of an inch what I needed. So I eyeballed it, and I ended up actually doing it uneven. So this side had one too many of the little stitches. So I had to smush it. I had to smush it so that it would work out, so that it would, in the one right next to the corner needs to be a slip stitch.
Oh.
And now, though, that I've done the first one, I've got the pattern down. So now on all the next ones, I'll make sure I count and have the same number of stitches. But when I did it, I was having massive insomnia, and it was like 1:30 in the morning. And I was like, hey, are we sort of back?
I think I'm back. Can you guys? Can you guys hear me?
I hear you. Can you hear me? I can't hear Gary.
I left and came back a couple times because you froze, and then I don't know what happened.
Yeah. I don't know. Something went wrong with the main system that's on Gary's computer.
It must be that my Featherweight is so cute; it just blew everything up.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is.
Uh-huh.
Okay, now can everybody hear now? Everybody can hear. Today is okay.
But I seem like I'm a little bit slow on my.
Yeah, I'm definitely not in sync.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, you guys go out and come back. Okay. Sorry, folks. Okay. There we go. I think we survived it. Okay.
Hello.
There. Okay, I think we got it.
That's a little better.
All right. Well, we're going to ride with that.
That's better.
Holy smokes, I hate when that happens. And of course, the night we have a guest, it has to help.
I know, that was...
Yeah.
Well, that's the way.
Oh, I just assumed it was me. You can just let me believe that.
Usually it's not me, but this time it was, so.
Yeah, because it got stuck like forever.
I give Spectrum a lot of money every month to make sure that doesn't happen.
It's just my little pillow was so cute, it froze your system out.
That's what it was, yeah. Okay, so back to that little pillow.
Yes.
Let's see here. I was on a minute. All right.
Did we answer all the pillow questions?
I don't know if we did or not. Whoops, wrong one. I'm all discombobulated. Okay, now we're back. Hi, folks. Sorry. Jeez.
Hey.
Okay, so all right. So the next question I had for you before the world came apart is, as you're doing this, is it now starting? Is it going rather fast? Like this is not a big pain in the butt?
No, it's not a big pain. It's fiddly, but it's fiddly in a way that doesn't seem to bother me.
Okay.
but because other fiddly really bothers me and I don't like to do it. But this one, maybe I understand crochet. I like it. And yeah, I don't know. And
Well, it sure looks cool.
yes, thank you. I love it.
Yeah.
I have 12. So. But they're not even all stitched yet. So,
Okay.
So then
All right.
did you see the post that I did where I stitched the pear with my hand spun?
Yes.
I
Yeah, I was
finished
so
it.
anxious to hear you talk about that. So, okay, Laura. So, Jennifer spins and whatever. Jennifer does it all. So,
I made yarn.
so okay, start with that because that stuff is just stinking beautiful.
So this is the yarn. This is 2-ply. So, this is just one. I had some one single left over that I didn't have anything to ply it with. So then I was like, oh, I should cross stitching with it because it's super thin,
Yeah. Okay,
So.
let's go to the 2-ply first. So now this is knitting weight, like you're going to knit or crochet with that?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Man, that's
Knit or
gorgeous.
crochet.
Wow.
The colors are kind of.
It's so cool. You spun it yourself. Wow.
I did out of fluff. The picture shows the fluff with the spinning wheel.
It's so cool. That looks like it's a massive amount. Now, any idea how many?
I don't know. I haven't counted up yet because I have 2 of those big puppies.
Oh, jeez.
And a smaller third one. So yeah, it's a lot.
Oh,
It's probably
man.
700 or 800 yards.
What's that, Laura?
And then did you dye it yourself as well?
No, I bought it like this. I bought it in a big pile of fluff. They call it roving. And I don't have any really handy here to show.
It's beautiful, though. It's just gorgeous.
On my Instagram post, there's a picture for my Facebook. So that's the yarn. Ta-da! And it's been soaked and stuff, too. So.
What does that mean? Soaked?
Well, it's been fully finished. It's not. You have to, after you spin stuff, and even like after you weave it, you have to then soak it and then let it dry. And like with yarn, you snap it. It like helps pull all the fibers back in order and realigns them and stuff.
Oh.
So when it's wet, after you've washed it, you snap it.
Oh, really?
And you move it around. And some people beat it. They'll take it and they'll grab an end and they'll beat it on the end of their against their shower or their bathtub. You can beat it or you can snap it.
Wow.
Well, see, I feel like that activity right there definitely ties into the mental health discussion for Sunday. Because I feel like that would relieve a lot of stress for me if I was snapping and beating.
Yeah. I'm telling you, just spinning the yarn is so soothing. I mean, I find spinning so soothing, so.
Wow. That is so cool. Yeah, we got Beth making notes now. Another thing, another way to improve your mental status. Snap yarn.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so all that you're going to knit or crochet with, and then you had the 1-ply, and so then you decided
I had some 1-ply left over, and so I put it on this little card. It's just a piece of like, cardboard box from like a box of food.
Yeah.
And I learned this from Galina Kemleva. She's a Orenburg lace knitting guru lady. Oh, somebody's giving a howl. And you put it on the card, and then I got a pot of water boiling, and then I took a spaghetti strainer, put it in the spaghetti strainer, and then I put the lid on. But this is not in the water. It's just getting the steam. And the steam, it helps, just like with the soaking, it helps set the yarn. Because normally this would like twist all over the place because it's just a single ply. But now that it's been set, it won't twist all over.
Huh.
Not doing this well.
Yeah.
So now it keeps its twist. And it balances out the yarn. And so then I could cross stitch with it. And it did really well. I used shorter lengths, kind of like the Soie d'Alger,
Yeah.
It even fuzzed less than that though.
Huh. That looks
It
cool.
Isn't it neat? I love it.
That's got to be so much fun to stitch with thread that you spun. Wow.
Yeah, I made it. And I think I have enough left for the other. This is the Blue Pears by Annie B's that
Okay.
just came out, you know?
Uh-huh.
And I think I have enough to do at least one more and probably both. I can probably get all 3 done with this.
Wow.
I did have to use bigger. I had to use 28 count because 32 count was too small for the thickness of the fiber.
Yeah.
So I will have to make the patterns a little bit larger for the pairs,
Right.
but that's not a problem.
Right. So cool.
And then, you know, it's hand spun. So some places it's thicker than others.
Yeah.
Some places it's thin. But really, in the grand scheme of things, you really can't tell.
No. So, okay, so that's another question. How, when you stitch with it like that, how do you feel about your spinning technique? Is it pretty good? You pretty happy with it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty consistent.
Yeah. Because that's mainly feel, right? When you're spinning, it's kind of in the fingers.
You get the feel of it. So this is pretty consistent.
That's
I'd
cool.
say.
Because yeah.
So, but you know, every now and then you get a thinner spot, but
Yeah.
it's okay. And I discovered there's definitely a direction. Like on the top part, I ran out of thread up here, so I had to put a new piece in. But I didn't want the top of this to be all weird colored. It was going to be like bright turquoise instead of kind of blending in. I didn't want that. So I used the other end of the thread, and you know, and man, I had a rough time. It did not want to go through. It was like, so it had a direction of pulling through the stuff. Yeah. I did it on just that one section. The rest of it, I now know the direction from how I wound it on. It was fighting me. So I had to switch back. So.
Yeah, you learn.
But yeah.
Cindy wants to know if it looks about the size 12 pearl.
Yeah.
Roughly?
About that. Maybe even a little thicker.
Okay.
It's maybe a little bit thicker, but about that, yeah. Some places it's thicker, some it's thinner, but
yeah.
Yep. Ta-da.
Pretty
slick. You know, we were talking about me doing that silk that I bought, but then I had this little bit left over. I'm like, well, I can use that, you know.
Right.
I got all excited. I had to start it right away, you know.
Right.
Me with my fire in my brain.
Yeah, looks great.
Now.
Looks great. Wow.
Thanks.
And you did it yourself, all of it. So cool.
I did. So that's my most exciting stuff. I've been stitching on other stuff too and all that, but you know, temperature chart. Ta-da.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I'm enjoying watching that evolve.
Yeah, I didn't post an April picture. We were so busy running around to open houses all weekend and stuff that I finished stitching, but I didn't post a picture, but you know, it's okay.
Yeah. No, it's fun watching that evolve. Yep. All right, good stuff.
Thanks.
Good stuff. All right.
That's me.
Yeah. Very cool. Yep. All right. And you made the thread yourself. Yep.
I know. Isn't that the best?
Yeah. Yep.
Well,
very
you
cool.
gotta think back in the day, maybe they did that.
Somebody had to. Yep. Somebody had to. Yeah.
All right. You might have made the thread that you had to sew your clothes together with and that you wove. I don't know. Next, I'm going to weave, and then I want to cross stitch or embroider my own woven fabric that I can make into a pillow or something.
Okay.
That's the next.
All right.
Because I have a loom, so.
Right. Yeah. You might as well use it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, in the future.
Yeah. Okay. Go, Jennifer. Yep. Thanks. Very cool. All right, let's get to Laura before we run out of time here tonight.
Yeah.
I can't hear Laura, though. Doggone it.
Oh, no.
How about now?
There.
Oh,
now
there
I can
it
hear
is.
There we go.
Okay.
I don't know how I follow that, Jennifer.
No. You're good. You got a cool machine. I don't have one. I just have my old cute little my Kenmore that I got from Sears.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now we get to learn about Laura's featherweight and some of her stitching. Did you get some of your stitching together too?
I did.
Good.
I did.
But let's look at the
Yeah.
featherweight
So
first. What do you?
right. Okay, so I moved things around because I the first little audio setup I had was not good. So I got my featherweight about a year and a half ago. I bought it for myself for my 45th birthday, and she is a 1947 Singer featherweight.
Yeah,
See
we
if
should
I can.
tell people. We should tell people the featherweight is the Singer machines that were made at that time were all cast iron, and the featherweight that's aluminum, right?
It is still,
Still
I
iron.
don't know. It's still iron, but they took a lot of the weight out of it.
Yeah.
They call them the featherweights, but I think they still weigh about 12 pounds.
Yeah.
But the one before this weighed like 27. So,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
so
Because
it
most
was
of
definitely a feather.
yeah the full size Singer machines are 30 plus pounds, and yeah, so this
Mhm.
allowed people to take their sewing machines with them, and it comes in a case, and that thing on the left there folds up, so you can actually hold it
Yeah.
up like Laura's doing without getting muscle cramps. But
Yeah.
yeah,
This folds up, and a little bobbin case is down here, which this is kind of sad but
Wow.
funny. The bobbin is the one thing, it is expensive to replace that little
yep,
bobbin case. And it's the one thing that if you go to a retreat with people you don't know, if you're going to leave your machine, you at least grab your bobbin case because they've been known to disappear a lot.
yep.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
I know.
that's a standard rule, particularly with those. If you
Hmm.
see one and you're going to buy it, the first thing you do is flip that thing up and look and see if that
Yep.
bobbin case is there. Because if it isn't there, don't pay much for the machine, because finding a
Nope.
bobbin case is like hunting for gold. And
Yep.
Oh wow.
and
I
people
didn't know
steal them all the
that.
time. I read a couple stories where someone had it at a whatever, and somebody came along and stole their bobbin case right out of it.
Oh my
Hmm.
gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Crazy.
ridiculous.
You would think you
Jeez.
wouldn't have to worry about that with fellow, quilters and sewers and things, but you just never know when you're at big retreats and conferences, especially with people you don't know. I wouldn't worry about that too much with my local guild just because I know all the ladies there. And there's several ladies that have featherweights. So we all kind of keep an eye out for one another too,
Oh
just
my
with,
gosh.
with convention staff and things like that too. But so yeah, I bought this. Like I said, it's a 1947, so it does have the pretty decorative faceplate on it. I think it's 1950, 51, something. No, actually, it might have been 1948. They went to just straight lines for that faceplate instead of the decorative metal that you see on the end of the machine there.
Okay.
And when I bought it, it was black, but the original decals were basically all off of it, and the case was in quite disrepair. So I had always wanted a featherweight that I could have custom painted. So for me, it was perfect. I would not, I'm not, I'm not a purist. If you find a featherweight and you want to paint it, do it because they made thousands and thousands and thousands of them. Personally, me, if I found one that was in excellent condition and the decals and everything were still in mint condition, I wouldn't, just because, I feel like if it is good original, then we should leave it original. But if not, then have some fun with it.
Right, right.
So that's what I've done. And I was telling Gary earlier that I had the opportunity to go and work with an automotive painter locally that my husband knew because we have a 1960 MGA, which is a British sports car, and he was painting it for us. And so I just kind of approached him and said, "Hey, would you paint my sewing machine?" And he didn't laugh me out of the building immediately. So we started talking to him more seriously about it, and he said, "Yeah, he would take that on." Now, obviously, you got to be careful with that too, because there's definitely things on the machine that could be ruined if it was, had overspray or paint on it. And we took it apart and they prepped it for paint. There are some pieces on the machine that you may have noticed, like the little spool pin plate up here, and the motor on the back. There are some things on the machine that I left black just because I didn't want to take the chance of any overspray. And it actually turned out really good because it gives it a nice little two-tone effect, which I like.
Yeah.
And I kind of incorporated that into the final design. So it worked out great. So he painted it for me and I got it back, and then realized that the decals that you get from the Featherweight shop are not adhesive decals. They're just like water float decals, and you're supposed to clear coat over that. I had already had the machine clear coated, so I have a Cricut die cut machine. And that's why if you notice the decals on the machine, they're not original. I just, with the Cricut, I cut out a rose design. Let's see if I get this tipped so you can kind of see. So I cut out a rose design for the machine and put those on. And it's just laying, it's a permanent black vinyl. And those are just laying on top of the clear coat, on top of the paint on the machine. And you can feel them if you run your finger over the bed of the machine or wherever they're at. You can feel them. But I'm fine with that because, again, I own the Cricut. So if they mess up, I'll just cut new ones.
Right. So that the plus there though is you could do that allowed you to do your own design exactly how you wanted it, and make that
Yep.
Now if you were going to do another one, I assume you would do the Cricut, but then you would clear coat over it. You'd hold off on the clear coat. Yeah. Okay.
Yep, definitely. Yeah. If I was going to do a custom design, I would probably do the Cricut die cut again, but then definitely clear coat. Or, I might just go with the decals that you could, because they have like reproduction decals that you can purchase now. And they're not that, they're like less than $30 for the whole set. But you want to put those on before the machine is clear coated.
Yeah. Okay, so back to the painting. What's it like to go to an automobile painter and select a color?
Amazing. Because the world opens up to you. Pretty much any color you can dream of, they can make happen. I walked in and he opened up he actually had just switched paint distributors, and he had a brand new case with paint chips I can't even tell you. There were thousands of paint chips in the cabinet. And he just opened it up and said, pick one. And I was like,
gosh,
can we narrow it down? Because I know I want teal, so I don't even know where to begin looking in this paint chip cabinet. So, and I actually put, I'm a big Lori Holt fan, and I took a piece of her fabric with me.
Oh.
And I said, can we color match this? So he color matched it to the vivid color that she uses in her fabric lines.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Wow, that's cool to be
Nice.
able to do that though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not go to Home Depot and pick out a can of paint. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then you were interested in the case as well. So let me move this out of the way and I'll tell you about that. The case, you mentioned Home Depot. Interestingly enough, I redid the case. I painted it and cleared it and everything. So what the painter did for me was he gave my husband the paint code, and then he went to O'Reilly and had to mix the paint and put it in a spray can for me.
Oh.
So
I didn't know you could. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Neat.
So they put it, now if you want the, the cool kid, term, you get it in a rattle can. So,
Yeah.
but you get the spray paint, and it's the same color as the machine that way. And this one as well. Now this case was, it was in really bad shape.
Yeah.
And it took couple weekends and lots of hours of work to get it to this point. And honestly, if I had to do it over, I probably would have just purchased a reproduction case and been done with it.
Oh, okay.
Because this was a lot of work, and I love the finished result. I don't know if it was really worth the cost of the paint and everything else that I have in it.
Was it structurally in rough shape?
Um, okay, so these cases originally they had like a fabric on them that's very similar. Actually, it's the same fabric they use on like the vintage amplifiers for like guitars.
Oh, okay.
And so it's a old fabric, and they also use a glue to adhere that fabric that is animal based. So that's why the cases a lot of times when you're looking for vintage featherweights or well featherweights in general, the cases smell,
Oh,
Yeah.
and it's because of that glue. It's the glue they use
Oh.
to attach that fabric. So I the case was in bad shape. It had, lots of scuffs and tears and rips in it. So I just decided to rip the fabric off. I went through a couple rounds of trying to get the stink out of it before I got to that point, but nothing that I found would work. It was just really bad. So I ripped the fabric off, which, if you go down that path, go outside to do that.
Oh
Because
no.
it made a mess. Oh my gosh, that old fabric, it was almost like it was decaying in my hands as I was ripping it
oh,
off the case. It was just
Oh.
falling apart. And I had black powder all over my sewing table
oh no.
Oh my
and
Oh,
my
gosh.
floor. It was a mess. But live and learn. Learn from my mistakes is what I'm gonna say.
yeah.
But so yeah, after I got it all the fabric off, and then got all the glue off, which was really easy. And I go into more of that in that featherweight video I did. And so then I also made custom inserts for my box, which is something that a lot of people they like. I used some Lori Holt home deck fabric and made the custom inserts. And these panels all just slide out. So if I decide I want something different in there, I can just slide these out and recover them and put new fabric in. So, and
And,
the
and that little
Oh
pillow
wow.
down, I thought it was interesting, that little pillow thing you made.
yeah, that was out of necessity because the original featherweight cases, they're supposed to have this piece of wood down in that corner of the box. And basically, it's so when you put your machine in there, it keeps it from sliding to that end of the box, so it keeps it
Uh-huh.
more
Oh.
secure in the case. I didn't have that. Um, and in fact, until I looked at a friend's case, I couldn't figure out why I had these two nails just stuck up in the bottom of my box. I was like, this makes
Oh.
no sense. Why are there two just sharp nails stuck
Yeah.
down there? And then I was looking at her case and I'm like, oh, I don't have that.
Yeah.
So I just I rolled up some foam. This is all that is. I rolled up some foam and made like a little tube pillow basically, and covered the foam to put in there, so that way it fits in really snug. And then my machine doesn't slide around either that way.
Yeah. Yeah. So now
Nice.
you say you've taken this to quilting shows and that kind of thing, and so you just pick it up by the handle and go with it, or you don't trust that handle?
Nope, nope. Now I will. Some people will say the kind of handle that I have, it's fine to pick up and run with it, because it's a metal handle up here, or metal hardware up here.
Yeah.
I don't trust it. I just don't. I don't trust it. I bought a heavy duty canvas tote that's actually designed for featherweight cases, and it's kind of a minty teal green color as well. And this case goes inside of that, and it's zipped up, and it has heavy handles on it, and that's how I carry it anywhere I go.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah. Because the case itself was wood, right? It's a core of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah, and I'm not really sure what kind of wood it is. It's not really thick, really.
Cheap.
You can yeah.
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 Cheap.
Well, and that was one of the things. That's the other. You kind of run the risk when you take that fabric off of there, because a lot of those older cases like that, the wood is so dry, and there might be some cracks and splits and things in your wood because the fabric is literally holding it together.
Yeah.
That's what's
Oh
holding it
wow.
together. So if you take that fabric off, you're losing part of the structure and stability of the case. But it stank, so I was like, well, it's worth a
Yeah.
try. It's like, well, it's not going anywhere with me like that. So let's see what happens if.
Yeah, you're out in the parking lot and everybody knows Laura's here.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was, I mean, yeah.
That bad, huh? Oh.
It was bad. It was really bad.
So, but once you got the glue off, then the stink went away, so like it doesn't smell now.
It still has a little bit of an odor, not anywhere near what it did before. I mean, I I would have it sitting in my sewing room closed like this in the beginning, and I couldn't leave it in there. I had to move
Ew.
it because it just smelled so bad. It still does have a little bit of a smell to it, but nowhere near what it did.
Yeah.
And it can be in the same room with me now, so we've worked on a relationship.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, but that's I actually had another featherweight that I just parted ways with this last weekend because one of my friends was looking for one, and today I was thinking, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't tell her never to pick it up by the handle, but that's one thing that um, people that have them, they will tell you, yeah, like I said, the metal hardware, they say, yeah, you can trust it, but I wouldn't.
Not.
I
Yeah.
would find another way, carry it by the bottom or find yourself another tote to put around it or something. I wouldn't. I just remember I have a friend that owns a quilting store here in town, and this was the horror story that stays in my mind. That I will never pick it up by the handle because one of their customers was coming in for a class, and she was about halfway across the store carrying her featherweight by the handle, and the bottom fell out of her case.
Oh
Oh
no.
no.
Oh.
So you can imagine that her sewing machine also fell out of the bottom
Yeah.
of the case.
Oh.
Oh
So
dear.
yeah,
And at
yeah,
this juncture, you have such an investment in it. Yeah. The last thing you want's that.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. So
Yep.
what is it like? Because that's the arch, the whatever is so much shorter. It's such a smaller machine compared to a normal size one. Is it still easy to sew with, or do you find at times you really need more room?
Um, honestly, I use my featherweight for fun, I guess is what I would say.
Okay.
I don't put binding on I do a lot of quilts. I don't try to put binding on my quilts with it just because it's just a lot to maneuver. I will say though, it is a workhorse. There are things that I have a Juki DX7, and that's what I use like on a daily basis. That's my main machine. Um, and I love that machine. I love my Juki, and it is a workhorse. But there are things that my featherweight will sew through that it hesitates sewing
Oh
through.
wow.
So I mean,
Huh.
and you have to think about the insides of the featherweight. It's all cast iron, so you have like real metal.
Right.
There's no plastic parts in there moving that are going to snap and break and give. So when that needle goes up and down, it really means it. And the featherweight is a straight stitch machine, so you don't have like all of the extra little decorative stitches and things like that. There are some attachments you can get to do like zigzag, and I think there might be a buttonhole attachment for it, maybe. Um, but for the most part, it's I use it for a straight stitch machine. I use it for piecing my quilts.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. No,
Hmm.
the hardware is. I actually, in the manufacturing magazine, did my editorial in the June issue about the hardware, because compared to today's hardware, it's light years better. All the screws, bolts,
Yeah.
everything is. I mean, it is last forever, just absolutely
Hmm.
forever, compared to today's screws and bolts, where they'll work for a while, but then they just aren't, not nearly made as well. And all that stuff, those machines just last forever. And that's, I think, why especially the featherweights have become so popular these days, is you can just count on them day in and day out. You don't have some plastic gear going, and then it's in the
Yeah.
shop for 6 weeks and $200 worth
Hmm.
of repairs. And there's nothing on those things going to break.
Yeah. Well, and I've heard stories of people that um, you can bring them back, even if you find a machine that it looks like, oh my gosh, it's so far gone. If you have the time and patience,
Yeah.
you can bring it back because I mean everything is like you said, it's like all metal throughout that whole machine. So even if there's some rust and things on the gears, there are ways to getting that cleaned up and getting the rust off of there and greasing and oiling, and and they just continue working.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I love it.
that's what with mine, which has now become 4, is exactly that. It was filthy. I mean, it takes a lot of hours, but I have all that metal back to its original look. All the sliding surfaces are all polished like mirrors, the whole bit. Yeah, you can bring them back. They'll last forever,
Hmm.
and as long
Yeah.
as you oil them, and yeah, you're exactly right. There's stories all over Facebook of people buying machines that are frozen up that haven't worked for years, and
Yeah.
you just put oil on the right spots and kind of work with it, and they'll come loose, and then you
Hmm.
clean them up, and you have a good sewing machine. Yeah,
Hmm.
they're amazing
Well,
works.
and yeah, one of the other thing that, if anyone's interested in getting a featherweight, one other thing that you should know about them is there's a couple little things that people think they're broken, and they get frustrated. I actually, one of the machines I've had in the last year that I got, and then my brother was like, I want that machine, because I got it from a lady that she thought it was broken and it wasn't working anymore, and I had her send me some pictures, and I was like, oh, I was like, I'm gonna pay you a fair price for this machine because I know what
Uh-huh.
your problem is.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
But basically, on the featherweights, they're not like modern machines. You never want to turn that hand wheel backwards. It should only rotate forwards. If you turn the hand wheel backwards, you start getting the machine out of time, and you'll get a rat's nest down in your bobbin assembly, and then the machine freezes up. And then if you don't know what happened, or you don't know that that is a thing, then you think, oh, great, the machine's broken and it's never going to work again. But it's really, probably about a 10-minute fix to pop that
Yeah.
bobbin assembly apart, get the string out, and you're back in business. So,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
yeah. So there are,
Yeah.
I tell my husband, I kind of equate sewing on the featherweight to him driving his classic cars. It's just a different feel. Um, it's just a nostalgic, simpler times feel where, it's just, and the featherweight lays out such a beautiful stitch. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
that's the thing that everything I've read when people talk about when they're all back together and working is the stitch is just so beautiful and so
Hmm.
even, and you can get the tension just right, top and
Yep.
bottom, and they just work and work and work forever. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, so cool. Yeah, it's a whole new world. It really is. I'm really enjoying. Well, I bought a machine that's a treadle machine, and then
Hmm.
I found another guy who had a cabinet in really good shape. I have to veneer one piece, but all the treadle mechanism is in perfect shape and everything. And I can't wait to get that together because that whole treadle thing is another world of operating a machine. Yeah, so cool.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, neat stuff. Yep. Well, congratulations.
Yep.
That thing is beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
It's really cool.
Yep. All right, let's look at some of your stitching before we run out of time here tonight.
Okay.
Oh, can you flip the camera around wherever it was so we can see that quilt that's on the wall?
Oh, I will.
Or did you move?
Uh, I moved.
Oh, never mind.
I moved. I'm sorry.
That's all right, because it looked
So,
beautiful.
Oh,
well, thank
cute.
you. So this is one of my latest finishes. This is a design off. I'm doing a salt box every month from Pinker and Pumpkin,
Oh,
um,
yeah.
blogspot.com. Melissa, she has so many amazing free patterns out there. So this year, I basically just decided I would do one of her salt boxes each month. I bought a
Cute.
vintage perpetual calendar, and so I'm using washers on the backs of this, and just
Mm-hmm.
magnets on the board to swap them out every month. So this
Mm-hmm.
is Aunt Bee's summer home. So this is one of the, let's see if I can, there we go.
Yeah.
Moving too fast to catch up with the camera. So there's that. But you told me to grab a couple things that I'm really proud of. Hopefully the glare's not too bad, because I don't I don't spring for museum glass. um,
Ooh, you did
Oh,
that
you did
one.
it.
is, oh, let's
Nice.
see.
That's
Let me see
Jeanette
what I can do.
Douglas's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Jeanette Douglas.
Wow.
Goodness, I don't know how I'm gonna get the glare off of that. Sorry about that, guys.
Just turn it at a
That's
little angle.
okay.
It's okay. There you go. That's
Yeah.
Oh,
good.
there we go. Yeah. So it's the mini bouquet sampler from last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think I found that in about April or May, and then scurried along to get caught up so I could get all of those
Oh
done.
my
So I
gosh.
love this.
Oh, that worked out
This is
great.
gonna hang in my living room. Yeah,
So
yeah. So
pretty.
I love that.
I have all the
And
patterns.
Yeah.
yeah, hey, that's the first step. That's the first
Mhm.
step. I have a lot of those too. It's like, well, one of these days.
Oh
And
my
then my
gosh.
other one
Oh,
is
cute.
it's Lori Holt
Mm-hmm.
Prim, because I've done the quilt of this one, and so I
Oh, okay.
did the cross stitch to match. And I've done several of her. I did the flea market baskets quilt
Mm-hmm.
and cross stitch, and then the flea market flowers cross stitch and quilt as well. But
Oh, that's
and I'm
cool.
working on Autumn Love right now. So
Okay. All right. I don't follow the Lori Holt thing, so then it's not unusual for her to do a quilt, and a thing.
well, she does so many quilts.
Oh.
I can't keep up.
She's associated with Fat Quarter Shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's a designer for Riley Blake. So she and Riley Blake team up to get her fabric lines out, and then she typically does a sew along for an applique quilt. Which, if I would have done this yesterday, if we would have had this yesterday, I just finished Calico Garden, and I had it hanging on the doors behind me,
Oh.
and I
Ah.
took it down. I took it down this morning because it's huge. So I mean, it's like this is like one of the biggest quilts she's ever done. It finishes at 90 by 90, so
Oh wow.
it's huge.
Holy
And I ended
smokes.
up leaving off the outer border because it won't fit the wall. I hang those on the wall in my living
Oh my
room,
gosh.
Oh
so
man.
I left the outer border out so it would fit the wall. But yeah, so those are the two that I thought I would bring and share.
Yeah.
As far as what I'm working on, I don't know. Do you guys have time for that?
Yep.
I
Keep
have
going.
Sure, yeah.
4 things. All right. Last July, I believe it was Primrose Cottage. I believe I could be wrong. They started this thing where they did flags on the 4th. Um, and so basically on the 4th, like starting the 4th of July, on the 4th of each month, you were supposed to stitch on something that had a flag on it. And I feel like everyone but me finished theirs because they were smarter than me and they chose something much smaller.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
I chose this design. It's by Katie Nolan. She is the owner of Count Your Stitches, and she has an Etsy shop. And I feel like Fat Quarter Shop might be carrying some of her patterns now too. But she did this in conjunction with Primitive Gatherings. They did a fundraiser last year to raise money. It was like I think it's for veterans to like purchase a Harley Davidson. It's called Hogs for Heroes.
Oh.
And so Lisa Bonjean had a quilt that she designed that looked like this, and I didn't make the quilt, but I collected the patterns. Um, but then Katie Nolan came out with a cross stitch design that matched it, and I've been working on that since July 4th of last year, and I really had to start disciplining myself and telling myself to break it down and get so much done every month or I'd never get it done.
Yeah.
So that's been I didn't I cross stitched for years and then I quit and then I only came back to it probably about a year and a half or so ago. And I wasn't paying attention to that pattern and I should have been. There are a ton of quarter and half and 3/4 stitches in that.
Oh.
And I'm doing it on 18 count Ada, and it doesn't really, it's been fun.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what we'll say. It's been fun.
Yeah. Partial stitches on Ada is not no.
Oh, cute.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
And then I'm
Peppermint.
also, Peppermint Lane by Pansy
Mhm.
Patch Quilts and Stitchery. So I have the first 3 done, and then I have a little bitty baby start on the tea house.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So you're doing it all on one piece?
Yeah,
That's gonna be pretty big. Are you gonna
this
make it into like a quilty type wall hanging or?
Nope. I'm gonna frame it.
Yeah. Cool. Nice.
It's
Is
gonna
that
be
on
huge.
28 count or 32 or?
This is 18 count as well, and
Okay, so it's like
this.
36. If it were linen, it would be 36.
Oh yes.
Okay.
So it's an 18
Wow.
count Ada, and then I tea dyed it, and then I also splashed some rose quartz RIT dye, liquid RIT dye.
I did
over
that
it.
on one of mine. That's the thing. This one. Oh, you can't see me. This one that I have, I
Well,
did
we
that
can-
too.
We can do that. We have this
That's
ability.
fine. This one splashed. I
Yeah.
rose quartz dyed it. And
Yeah,
because
I
just
love
to
that
give
color.
the slightest hint of pink, you just want that tiny blush. It's
Mhm.
not much. It's just a hint.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay, I have two more.
Okay.
All right.
I don't monogamously stitch.
Yeah, I used to.
So this is Autumn Love. This will match one of the quilts that I made. This is a Lori Holt
Oh,
design
nice.
with It's So Emma, and so it's getting there. Lots to go yet. And this is on a 28 count Lugana
Okay.
cloth, and it's just white. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just white. I'm
Just
sure
regular.
it has a fancier name.
Just regular white.
Yeah.
Not
It's
snow
just
crystal white or
Blanc. Blanc is as fancy as it gets.
And so, we were talking about the featherweight. So I am actually doing a featherweight cross stitch.
Oh.
Cute. Cool.
Yep. And this pattern is by Margaret Lee. I was fortunate enough. I had a friend that accidentally bought 2 copies of the pattern.
Yeah.
So she was like, "Hey, do you want one of these?" I'm like, "Yeah." And of course, the original pattern shows the machine in black, but I'm changing it to teal to match my
Yep.
machine.
Of course.
And
Nice.
yeah, and this is a 28 count Monaco, which I had never stitched on Monaco before. And I'm not sure what I think of it really.
Yeah.
Really?
I was gonna say I'm getting a sense you may not ever do it again.
I mean, it's okay.
Nice.
It's a lot stiffer than Lugana, and it's definitely stiffer than the hand dyed Adas and linens that I've used.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, I mean, I can stitch in hand with it, which is nice.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I might just not be a huge fan.
Well.
And then the last one's not started, but I have to do a quick little plug because I graduate from Mizzou on Saturday.
Oh,
With
congratulations.
my bachelor's. Thank you.
Cool.
Finally, only took me 30 years, but so I'm going to start this Saturday as my graduation starts. So it's
There we
a
go.
pattern by Pansy Patch Quilting, Peacock Manor, and it's in the Just Cross Stitch June 2023 magazine. So,
Oh, okay.
and it's on wheat. I know that
Cute.
it's not just plain white or tan. It's on wheat.
Wheat. Yeah.
Wheat.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, yep.
Yeah. What's your master's in? What degree? What?
Well, it's my bachelor's finally.
Oh, I thought you said you were getting your master's.
No, I finished my bachelor's of general studies. So this fall I'll start a master's program in learning technology and design.
Oh, excellent.
Oh, cool.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Great. Wow.
Awesome.
And in your spare time.
In my
Yeah.
spare time, I quilt
Mhm.
and I stitch, and yeah.
Hey, it works. It
Yeah.
works.
I try to do it all, so I get a little bit of a lot of nothing done. So,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Well, it's just
you can see
a
my
variety
quilting behind
good.
me. I mean, some.
Yep.
Beautiful.
All right. I think we'll wrap this up, folks. Sorry about the technology issue. That was frustrating, but we survived it.
It's all good.
So worked out. Laura, thanks so much for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. I've enjoyed it.
Showing off your machine. It's cool. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah,
Yep.
always
Excellent.
fun.
Send your emails in if you want to be in the drawing for the bit kit.
Yeah. So, what is your Instagram and floss tube and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, give that.
My Instagram is Laura, Lora, B as in boy, floss tube. Pretty easy.
Okay, Laura B.
And my YouTube channel, you can just put in Laura, Lora Brinkman, but it's Laura B floss tube on there too.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Excellent. Okay, so send your thing in because you got the apron, the bit kit. Thanks to Krista West for making these things available to us. Please support our sponsors because otherwise this stuff doesn't happen. Like internet that goes out. You know, if we don't have, you know, yeah, that's what makes the difference. Sunday, Kathy Andrews and Beth talking about mental health and needlework. Don't miss that one. It'll be an interesting thing. I'm not participating in that one. That's those two. I'm just going to record it. So I'm looking forward to hearing what they have to say. So Laura B. Floss Tube, you can find her. Keep up with her. Go watch the video if you're at all interested. Go watch the video she made about the whole process. Many more details of doing her sewing machine. It's really enjoyable, and you really get a sense of what she went through to make it happen. Yeah, these things don't happen just overnight. You don't just wipe them down and put them to work. You got to work at it a little bit. But very cool story. Thanks for sharing. Thanks to everybody for joining us tonight and hanging in there through the technology. And let's see, next week we should have a podcast on Wednesday, and then should be back the following week with another live show. So there we have it. Thanks, everybody. Bye.